If you're listening to this in real time, February to early March 2023, then you're in time to register for the Short Form Funnel Summit. It's completely free March 3rd through 6th, and it's audio only, which means you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time on social media or staring at a screen. What we're really doing is sharing words from experts to help you have short form video that converts potential followers into subscribers on your email list and sales for your products, which is what we really want at the end of the day. We're going to be talking about TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, and even short form video on platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn that get a little bit neglected and ignored. If you know you're going to be busy that weekend, or if you know you want a little more support, there will be an option to upgrade to an all access pass, and the price will go up closer to the dates. So if you know you're going to want to get that, get it as soon as possible so you can save it. All of those links are in the show notes, or if you need a little more info, you can DM me on Instagram over at Brittany Verlenich. Hello and welcome to the Social Media Magic Podcast, the perfect podcast for TPT sellers, teacherpreneurs, and teacher business owners who consider themselves to be introverts. Each episode shares all kinds of ideas, tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make more sales and grow your community on social media. Without further ado, let's get on to today's episode. Welcome back to the Social Media Magic Podcast. My name is Brittany Verlenich. I'm the host of this show, and I am so glad that you're here. Today, we are asking and answering the question, are Facebook Reels the next TikTok? And kind of the underlying question is Facebook dying or is Facebook dead? Is it still relevant in 2023 and beyond? Is it worth me spending my time on? You probably already know what I'm going to say there, but let's just dive into it. And by the way, I always feel like I have to add this disclaimer because I have had to unfollow so many business coaches lately, not because of anything harm on them. It's just because when we listen to a lot of different opinions and coaches and content and stuff, when we're consuming more than we're creating, we're often going to feel more overwhelmed and confused than when we started. So again, disclaimer that you always have to make decisions for yourself as the business owner. I am only sharing what is working for me and my clients. I'm sharing what has been effective, but not every single tactic or strategy is necessarily for you, and not every tactic or strategy is for you right now. This might be something that you try in a year. This might be something you try in a month. This might not be the semester for it. Maybe it's a crazy quarter. So you get to decide, but take it in, listen, think critically, and also pay attention to what excites you. Like, do you find your body kind of lunging towards it with excitement? Like, yes, I want to try that. Then if so, give it a try. All of social media is experimentation and looking at analytics, rinsing and repeating. It's this huge laboratory. So if you look at it like you get to play, it's a playground, you just get to try things out, it's not as stressful. You don't have to put pressure on it. And I promise you that when you are truly creating and playing, you're going to make some of the best content that resonates with your right people. Okay, so let's get into it. Are Facebook Reels the next TikTok? I have been playing on my travel and my personal account. So I do things a little bit differently on Facebook than other people in the fact that I don't really focus as much on Facebook pages. A couple of reasons for that. One, it doesn't work as well for my funnel. So with my travel-based Facebook group, I have it hooked up to the Traveling Teachers page, which, I rarely update that. I see it more like a landing page, just so people can see we're legit. But I am very, very active on my personal profile. One reason for this is just ease, honestly. It's easy for me to go in and post on my personal profile. It's more of a drag on the page, although Facebook has been making some updates and improvements to that to where it's super easy now. Like if you're on the Facebook mobile app, you can easily click this little circle with arrows and toggle easily between your page and your profile, which is super cool. Definitely recommend you go in and play with that if you have a Facebook page or a group or both. But I have always just found so much ease in the personal profile. And because of the way that Facebook is really made, Facebook was made for us to connect to our friends and family, for us to share what's going on in our lives, what's happening behind the scenes, what's going on, and connection, right? Connection with friends, family, and also networking. It's a social network, of course, at the end of the day. So it's made for networking. And I find that being able to network with your real first and last name and a picture of yourself, it just builds that know, like, and trust factor like nothing else. And with a page, don't feel bad if you have this. I'm not digging at you, but most TPT sellers who have a Facebook page put a picture of their logo without their face as the profile picture. Now just consider this, okay? If you're talking to two different people, who are you going to be most likely to trust? Someone with a profile photo of a logo and no face. You have no way to see who the actual person is, or a person who you can see their face, you see they have kids, you see they have pets. You're going to probably trust a person with a face. In fact, there are studies on this. There have been multiple studies on this that people who have a profile photo of themselves smiling are more likable and more trustworthy in the eyes of the person who is following them than someone with a logo or a brand. So it's something to consider. That is one thing that I probably would tell all my clients is like put a picture of your face. But there are multiple reasons why you might not want to. One nice little middle ground thing you can do that I've actually done with Math with Minis is I have like a logo with my face in it. So I kind of have the best of both worlds. That way people know this is the account for my TBT store. It is not my personal profile. You can expect math stuff on this account. Okay. And then for the travel one, like you can go and easily see that it's a picture of me traveling. I have a travel content background. Like I try to make it super clear to people, like what are they there for? What can I provide to them in that space? And also, I just want to say and recognize, I know that most people following me on this podcast do not have multiple businesses, and I'm not saying you have to. I am a multi-passionate person. I might attract some of you multi-passionate people, but I also have multiple profitable businesses. And so I'm going to keep doing that and having those separate funnels in places. And they're going to find me for what they want to learn from me. So yeah, something to consider. And I really recommend having a picture of your face, but I get that you might not want to. So that's one thing too, is it builds that trust in having a person instead of just a company or a brand. Another thing is just the way that Facebook is set up. So like when you go to join certain groups, you might even have it as a rule in your own Facebook group that pages can't join, but personal profiles can. So for networking, I just found fewer barriers having a personal profile and focusing there instead of on a page. So that's what I do. I use my personal profile for most everything. And the cool thing is Facebook has paid attention to this. They've paid attention to our user behavior, and they have actually created professional influencer dashboards for personal profiles. So if you decide that you want to experiment with the personal profile and Facebook funnel method, which is something I teach, then you can make a professional dashboard for your personal profile. And it's honestly, in that sense, just like Instagram, which totally makes sense because Facebook and Instagram are both now owned by Meta. So of course, there's going to be some like cross-pollination and features there. So Facebook Reels, that's the question, is the next TikTok. Why am I talking about pages and Reels? So let me just, again, back up and say, you always want to look at how a social media platform is being used and the features are using. And anytime there's a new feature, I say jump on it, play with it, because the platform is going to instantly reward you with more reach. It means they're going to push out your content to more people. It's going to get seen by more of the right people, which is important for you because that's going to lead to more followers, more subscribers, more opt-ins, all that. But also it's just good to experiment and see, is this feature helpful to me? So with Reels, I started experimenting, I want to say like 4 months ago. And at one point I was posting a Facebook Reel every single day. And I just wanted to see what would happen. There's also some fun like creators I follow, like usually couples. Like there's one couple called the Pacinis. He's from Italy, she's from Texas, and they just have all this fun like cultural stuff on there. And I was like, looks like they're using a personal profile instead of a page. Anyway, so I've been following that and noticed that they kind of do have their own funnel. Like they have a reel where they get discovered, people will follow them from the reel, and then they have other content there. They go live and they have other like income streams from there. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try this for my own travel influencer brand just to see what happens and go from there. So I did it, and I've noticed that now, because I have the professional dashboard, instead of just friends, I have a separate tab for followers. So I now have people following my quote unquote personal profile, even though it's a professional profile now, and they're not all my friends and family. It's people who have found a reel, it spoke to them, they resonated with it, they found it relatable, and they decided to follow me from that. And the cool thing is, Facebook now actually sends notifications when you create a reel and someone follows you from that reel, which is so good to know because then you can tell, okay, this kind of content or this style of reel or video is what people are resonating with. You can find this data on Instagram, by the way. You can go on your analytics and find it, but I think it's really cool and smart that Facebook has set it up so that you get a separate notification because I can go and see in real time what's resonating with people. And the cool thing also is like since I got in kind of early, I was able to get the Facebook Reels money program. I just want to say I've made like peanuts. I think I've made like $5, $5 from Facebook Reels. So I'm not saying that Facebook Reels are necessarily going to be like the money making thing for you in themselves. They could be if you do have a content creator model for business, but think of just how much exposure, because I went from, I want to say like 1,600 friends, or no, sorry, that's where I'm at now, 16 or 1,700 people. And I started at like just over 1,000, I want to say a month ago. So that means just 30 days of consistency. It's about 50% growth. Well, I guess if you look at the total 150%, but 50% of the amount I had before, super exciting. So play with it. Again, play with it, right? But I do think we are past TikTok's prime. I'm not saying that we're not still maybe showing up on TikTok, but I do think we're past that prime point where like the reason so many people joined TikTok is because everybody said, oh my gosh, I'm killing it on TikTok. I just started, come join me. But the funny thing is, since that critical mass point has happened and all these people have gone and joined TikTok, the algorithms have gotten more complicated. It's getting harder to get seen. So don't feel bad if you're just joining TikTok and you're not seeing the results that all these other people have promised. They just got in earlier. And the cool thing is you still have that opportunity with Facebook Reels. So try it, because right now when you scroll on Facebook Reels, you see kind of a mix of like Instagram Reels that are getting pushed out to Facebook and then Facebook native Reels. And I've noticed that when I upload content directly to the Facebook Reels platform, that gets more views and reach. So try it out. And make sure too that when you're creating Reels on Instagram that you have your settings, like you'll see there's some toggle settings when you're about to post. If you're using original content, this might be harder if you have like a trending sound, but make sure you toggle on the option to recommend on Facebook, because you're going to get that many more views and more people who can follow you on Instagram or follow your Facebook profile. So is Facebook or Facebook Reels the next TikTok? And the question is maybe. Of course, we'll never know until it actually happens and time has passed. Time is always the best teacher, but I think it could be. Honestly, I'm looking at YouTube for 2023. I think YouTube is going to be massive. I just love to see what they're doing with their whole algorithm, that like YouTube Shorts are now recommending longer form videos from that same creator that makes the shorts. So I think that's a really smart place to put your time and effort in 2023 and beyond, because YouTube was one of the original social media platforms. But TikTok, I got to give it credit. It's been a total disruptor to the social media industry, and it's causing all these other platforms to think critically and be better. It made Pinterest into a social media platform with short form video. It made Instagram be better. It made Instagram's team basically make Reels overnight. It's really incredible, like what we do when we feel that pressure in a good way to compete. Competition can be a good thing. But I would just say, try it out. If you're one of those people who maybe you don't like Instagram and maybe TikTok seems too intimidating, but you're like, I can do Facebook. That might be why you're listening to this podcast, because you're like, oh, Brittany does Facebook. I can do that. I can have a page. I can have a group. Try Facebook Reels. I'll have to make another episode about this once I've experimented with it more. I've been experimenting with creating Reels in groups, like Reels specifically for that group on Facebook. And that has had some interesting results, but I don't feel like I have enough data yet to try it. So I'm going to try some more and share. But oh man, making a Reel, this is what's working really well right now, is make a Reel on your personal profile on the Reels tab. Share that Reel onto your personal profile and share that Reel into groups. And if you can, multiple groups, don't be too spammy, right? Make sure that you're sharing into groups that allow for it, or your own groups. But oh my gosh, just the reach from doing that alone has been insane. We're talking tens of thousands of views on these Reels. So try that, see how it works, see how it goes. And remember that depending on what you're doing, your goals might not be the same, right? So if you are a content creator and you're trying to get those kinds of numbers, like you want to be able to say tens of thousands of views, that doesn't mean much to a TPT seller, right? Who cares if tens of thousands of people see your stuff if they're not buying, right? We don't care about vanity metrics if we're trying to sell digital products. That's just the truth of it. You care about sales, subscribers, sales, right? And followers to an extent because they're opting in to see more of your stuff. But if you are working on sponsored posts, if you're working with brands, if you're trying to get collaborations with maybe to get on bigger podcasts and you're trying to get seen and those vanity metrics matter to that person, then yes, maybe those things matter too. So I don't want to totally discount that. It just depends on your goals. And if you're not sure what your goals are, go back and listen to the episode I made. I'm actually going back to look now. Yeah, look at episode 5. Are you using the right social media strategy? Because you need to know that first before you do anything about picking a platform, choosing a tactic. Make sure that you're using the right strategy first. But if you are willing to experiment a little bit, and especially if you're already making TikToks or Instagram Reels, try Facebook Reels. You can repurpose them pretty easily. Before you post something, you can download the video because it already has text and stuff on it, right? And there are some little tricks and stuff. I'll actually have to make some YouTube videos about apps I use because I have to share my screen, obviously, and show you what I do, because there are apps you can use, websites you can do that will actually remove the watermarks and stuff for you. So you can use the same video multiple times. You don't have to be creating the same video 60 times, right? You don't have to. And remember, this is short form video. It doesn't have to be long if you're going to do it. Actually right now, as of when I'm recording this at this very moment on Instagram, what's trending right now is 3 to 6 second Reels. 3 to 6 seconds. And the cool thing is they're faceless reels. Like you can show a landscape and have some text over that's valuable, and that is what's trending. I mean, you just never know. Not that we all follow trends, because remember, we're trailblazers and trendsetters as thought leaders. We don't have to be following trends all the time, but trends are still good to pay attention to because you can always work them into the original creative content that you have. Okay, that's it for today. Facebook Reels, go try them. And if you want to try TikTok, if you're like, I am completely new to short form video, I don't even know how to use the features, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to show up, we're doing a challenge right now while you're listening. So in January of 2023, if you're listening in real time, we're doing a 31-day challenge and we're sharing the results and holding each other accountable. So making sure we're actually doing it. Don't come join this. I'm just going to tell you right now, don't join it if you don't want to be on TikTok, right? Like this is not me saying TikTok is the holy grail. No, right? I just told you that Facebook Reels could be the new TikTok. We'll see. But the actual practice of yourself doing something so many days in a row and actually becoming competent will help you make the decision whether or not TikTok is for you. You're never going to know if you don't try. And it is really good for discoverability. It's a great way for people to discover you. And it doesn't take as much time as writing a blog post or creating a YouTube video. Even though I love YouTube, I'm going hard in 2023. And even though I love podcasting, like some of us don't have 30 minutes to sit down and plan an episode, record an episode, edit an episode, polish an episode, upload it, make show notes. Like it's a lot. But short form video, you can do in a couple minutes. Okay. So try it out, see how it goes. Come join us in the group. It's totally free. If you're not in the Facebook group yet, it's facebook.com/groups/audience and authority. I'd love to see you there. And even if you're listening in late January, come join us, right? Because even if you have 3 days on TikTok and you've never been on TikTok before, you've never created a video, that's 3 days more than you would have had, right? So it's going to be kind of like a little mini series. I'm going to be sharing in there. I can't wait to see what you all create and the results that you all have. I'll see you in there. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next episode of the Social Media Magic Podcast.